when you think about pyramid schemes, this is the way I explain it to people who want to join me. And that's their question. I get asked this a ton. There's typically somebody at the top.
Everybody wants to be at the top, right?
Right. And it's just like any corporation, right? There's always a CEO of the company who probably benefits the most. So let's say you put me at the top of that pyramid. And in a real true pyramid scheme, I make money off of everybody underneath me, which again would be like the CEO of any company. But the problem with that is if nobody can, in a true pyramid, in a legal pyramid, nobody can make any more money than me and nobody could ever outrank me. I would always be at the top. And with what direct sales does, that's not the case.
Are you ready for a successful retirement? We're addressing the topics facing today's retirees. Welcome to Retire with Ryan. Now here's your host, Ryan Morrissey.
Welcome back, everyone. This week we have an exciting guest. We have Maria Kertez. Welcome, Maria.
Hey, Ryan. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. And Maria's here to talk to us about alternate ways to make money in retirement or even before retirement. And specifically, we're going to talk about a multi-level marketing company and talk about ways that can help you generate extra income, dispel some myths with that, and just kind of get a general understanding of how that works. So, Maria, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background. How did you get into this field?
Sure. And it's a little bit of a long story, so I'm going to try and make it concise. But originally, I went to school to become a special education teacher. And that's what I did for, 6 or 7 years. We ended up moving south. We're originally from up north. And I took a 50% pay cut, which was really what spurred on a lot of kind of what I'm doing now. We were unable to really make sense of childcare with the money that I was making as a teacher. It's really a shame when you think about that. So we had to, we did fine as a one income family, but I really like to work. I like to produce. I like the idea of added income to help us reach our goals quicker. So I actually started a cake business and I did that out of my home for 6 or 7 years. And it was fantastic, but very difficult, as you can imagine, with 3 little kids.
Yeah. Easier when they were younger, right? They weren't getting into the frosting and everything.
And they would go to bed early so I could work while they were sleeping. But now they're 4, 7, and 10. I have to think about it because we've got birthdays coming up and ones that just passed. So that was when I looked for plan B because we liked having that income. We kind of got used to it. So I was like, well, what else could I do that doesn't take me away from the home, doesn't add hours to my day? It's something I can do from behind my computer. And a friend had introduced me to her skincare company. And at the time, I had a very, very bad taste in my mouth about direct sales. I think a lot of us did or still do maybe, just because I think all of us have been hassled at some point or direct messaged to buy or, join a party or join somebody's company. And it's unfortunate because it is a really great opportunity. And I'm glad I took that second look at it because I had that thought where I was like, everybody's asking me to do this or join their team. I'm like, what if there's something there? So I almost started it to just kind of see if there was something to it. And then the rest is history. I've been in network marketing for 6 years. I've switched companies. So I've been with 2 different skincare companies. And the one I'm currently with, I've been with for 4 years. And I've been really fortunate to be able to build my business to over 1,000 women that are on my team that I get to help. And I have been able to attain the lofty 6-figure income in a year with network marketing, which I never thought was possible, but here I am. So that's the short side of my story there for you.
Okay. So let's just get the elephant out of the room here. When I think of multi-level marketing, direct sales, like you were saying earlier, you think about maybe like high pressure sales or even like con type people, right? Where you're selling an inferior product or like somebody else is making a lot of money off of your hard efforts. So let's just kind of maybe tackle some of those myths and see them.
Yeah. And that's honestly, I think the word you're probably dancing around was pyramid scheme. That's what a lot of people ask me.
Yeah, that one. Yes.
Yes. They're like, is this a pyramid scheme? And honestly, when I first got started, I had that thought too. And so did my husband. So we were really, really careful in our research because I didn't want to put my name on anything that was illegal. I don't think anybody wants to do that. And the bottom line is there is organizations that are taking down companies and companies have been taken down. I have a friend who was making 6 figures and had a massive organization and paycheck, and her business was pulled out right from underneath her because the company had to shut down. And there's a lot of things that can be done wrong with companies, and there are things that can be done very, very well and correct and legally. So that said, these companies are not pyramid schemes, because if they were, they'd be taken down by the DSA, the Direct Sales Administration. They're constantly in our business and making sure we're doing it correct. And our company itself has a compliance team, and the team must be massive, because if you do something wrong on social media, you get an email the next day and you're not in trouble. It's just like, hey, you can't make income claims on social media, or you can't make a medical claim, right? So we're really, really careful that we're following those compliance pieces. But when you think about pyramid schemes, this is the way I explain it to people who want to join me, and that's their question. I get asked this a ton. There's typically somebody at the top.
Everybody wants to be at the top, right?
Right. And it's just like any corporation, right? There's always a CEO of the company who probably benefits the most. So let's say you put me at the top of that pyramid. And in a real true pyramid scheme, I make money off of everybody underneath me, which again would be like the CEO of any company. But the problem with that is if nobody can, in a true pyramid, in a legal pyramid, nobody can make any more money than me, and nobody could ever outrank me. I would always be at the top. And with what direct sales does, that's not the case. So I actually have people on my team underneath me that I've signed up that have outranked me and that earn double the amount of money I make. So anybody can bypass me in the ladder. So it is network marketing or multi-level marketing, in that if you do want to really tap into the compensation plan, you do want to build a team, but you're not stockpiling products. So that's another piece of pyramid schemes and how they're done very wrong. We're not stockpiling products. We are not allowed to make purchases over a certain amount to boost our levels to tap into more commissions. So they're very careful about how much money we can personally spend in our own business. So that's really important. And these are things I always tell people if they're interested in direct sales. I'm like, just make sure you do your research on the company and make sure you understand what are their policies and procedures around this stuff. Because like I said, it is really important. Your business could be pulled out right from underneath you at any minute if it's done wrong. So it's important to look into it.
So regarding the research, how would somebody research that, right? Your friend tells you about this, you start to get interested. Where would you go to do research like that?
Yeah, so typically people join direct sales because a friend's doing it. So the first thing you want to ask this friend for is the business and compensation plan. That's the number one thing. There's also going to be a policies and procedures manual or document of some sort. I would get your hands on both of them. And if they are a little confusing, especially if you've never been in this type of a business before, but schedule a meeting with that person and ask them to walk you through it. If they can't walk you through it, ask them to find somebody to walk you through it. And if they can't find somebody, run for the hills. Go somewhere else. Go find somebody else. And it's funny, when I have people join me, I want to go through this stuff and people don't really care about it. But I'm like, no, you should care. You should understand how you're getting paid. You should understand how you can make more money if you want to. I think it's really important.
Sure. Yeah. So if somebody, because if people are looking for something part-time to do, right? Obviously they could get a part-time job, but now they have certain hours they have to show up. They might have to leave their house if they have children, or maybe there's someone they're caring for. So if they're interested in something like this, what does it look like for them to get started?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, and it's funny, for me, it was intriguing to get a part-time job and kind of get away from the kids a little bit. But I know everybody's family situations are different, but I have a husband that travels. So being away from the home is really just not an option for me. And what intrigued me about this as an option is that there's no cap to what you can make, as opposed to going to work a part-time job where you're getting paid a certain hourly wage or a salary. You're pretty much capped on that. So I'm a goal setter. I'm a goal-oriented person. So I liked that there was that ability to always make more if you wanted to. So that's really attractive. But as far as timing goes and getting started, in the beginning, I always tell people, if you're doing this more than an hour a day, you're doing it wrong. It should not take anything more than that. It's truly not even, I don't think, part-time until you start to build a bigger team of people that are working with you. And I would say even now where I am, I probably work about 2 to 3 hours a day at most. And there are times where my kids are sick or we're on vacation, and I can totally check out and the business still runs itself because I've got leaders that are working underneath me and with me, and just kind of business takes care of itself at this point.
So about an hour a day. And I guess in your case, it's skincare products. And is this something that people are going door to door doing, or?
Thank God, no. And I've got it, the game has changed quite a bit with COVID. We always used to do in-home parties for women to kind of come together and
Yes, like the Tupperware quote parties, right? Or yes,
Yes.
get all your friends over, you get a free gift or something if you get them to show off.
Yep. And a lot of people love going to them because they get free things. They get to see their girlfriends. They get to drink some wine. But then COVID hit and we had to shift how we do everything. But for the most part, we're not a party company. We always did like a launch party for people just so that the people that were interested and had questions could come over and try everything. Now that we can't do that, we really do everything virtually, which at the time we thought it was the end of the world. But now looking back, we're like, this was the best thing ever for our business because I can host parties like in my pajamas and I don't have to find a babysitter. So I don't cut into my profits anymore with that. So the way I coach my team and the way I do this is kind of what I call like passive selling. I'm really trying to change the way direct sales is done in general. Because like I talked about in the beginning, I just feel like it's been done wrong. Or maybe it wasn't wrong 10, 15 years ago, but now we've evolved and there's more companies and there's more people doing this. And what worked 10, 15 years ago does not work now. And it's just downright annoying. So what we do is a lot with social media. And if you don't have social media, it's totally possible to make this business work. But just for my team and how we operate, we do some posting here and there. It's not crazy. It's not super annoying. It's not in your face, but it's just like, here are our products. Here's what we have. We're not asking for any sales. But when we see people out in public, 9 times out of 10, they're like, tell me about that firming cream you have. Like they'll come to us to ask us questions because I don't want to be pushy with anybody.
You don't want people running when they see you. Oh no, here's Maria with her skin cream.
Exactly. And I always tell my team, I'm like, you have to trust the process. It feels like you just want to tell everybody about what you're doing, but you really do turn people away and turn people off that way. And like you said, people will go running when they see you, like, oh, here comes that annoying girl that's going to ask me to buy her products. So that's how we kind of do things. And then we host events that, if we've got people asking about products, we're like, hey, we're going to do an event. We're going to teach you all about the products. We're going to throw in some fun things about how to lose weight or meal prep or whatever. We try to provide value around the product. So it's not just about selling. And that's really kind of how we do it, posting in groups or on your personal page, and then events that I kind of run for my whole team.
Okay. So when somebody wants to buy from you, do they call you or do you send them a link and they go to a website, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's a good question. We have a link. It's, we can send the link and people can shop and check out. It's a really easy process. One of the things that people hate about direct sales is you get put into like the auto ship and then you can't get out of it. And you just end up with like an overstock of products. We have an auto ship program, but it's a flexible one where there's an actual calendar. You can pick if you want to get your products sooner, if you want to bump them out a month, if you'd like to get them shipped every other month or every 4th month, whatever. Or you can just completely cancel the auto delivery so you don't get any surprise shipments, which is really nice. And that makes me feel good about not people getting annoyed about the ship, because it's happened to me with nutrition supplements or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to cancel. There goes another $120 down the drain for something I don't like. And then you go to try to cancel and it's impossible. You have to like sell your soul to cancel the subscription. So we can do that. I like to provide more of a VIP service. So I usually take people's orders and place it for them because the website, there's a lot. And I think an overwhelmed mind shuts down and then people don't end up ordering. It happens to me when I'm shopping. So I always tell people, hey, send me your information and I'll call you for your credit card information. Usually people just send it to me via over text or whatever, and then we delete on both ends. But most people, we just hop on the phone for 2 minutes. I get their info, I place the order. And then there are other people who just are adamant about placing their own order. And I'm totally fine with that. But like I said, it's nice for people to just text me and be like, hey, I don't need anything this month and I can take care of it. They don't have to worry about their username and password. So that's what I do. I know everybody does it different. It's just what works for me and my team.
Sure. So what about like initial investment? Like what is somebody looking at if they want to get started in this? Like what do they have to spend up front to get going?
I mean, that highly depends on the company that you sign up with. And hopefully, I don't know, I can't speak for all of them, but I hope that all of them have a kit of some shape or form that is less than $100. I really believe firmly that you should not have to make a large investment to do something like this. And there is something to be said about having some form of an investment because then you feel more involved in what you're doing, I guess. It's almost like psychological,
I talk about forcing mechanisms sometimes. I guess it's, you had to buy $500 worth of inventory and you got to sell it, but what if you don't sell it, right?
go back if you get a chance. And if anyone's listening, there's a new documentary called Lula Rich, and it's kind of exposing what went down with a direct sales company called LuLaRoe. It was a leggings company. They made really wild pattern leggings. I've purchased them and worn them years and years ago. So with that company, one of the big things was you had to invest. It was like $10,000 to get started. And it was your product to then go and sell. And if you didn't sell it, you were out that money. So that's something that I would warn people. You should not be spending anything more than $500. Most businesses, there's levels that you can buy into. I would say the max would be $500 or $1,000. And when you buy in, you're usually getting product in return for that amount. Our company, we have a $20 kit. You get no product, but you get your website, you get your back office, and you can start selling that day. So that's really nice that people have that option.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about businesses investing in a business, you can't ever start a business usually for $100. I mean, if it was some consulting business and you had the knowledge, maybe you could set up an LLC for that. But yeah, so it's a pretty minimal investment, and you couldn't make your own. Maybe you're a cosmetologist genius and you can make your own skincare product, but you also need a product to sell, right? So
right. And I always tell people, do not overlook direct sales because of the low buy-in, and you have zero overhead after that. It's one of the most profitable, I think, business models that are out there, because like you said, you're not any other business or franchise that you would buy into would be a couple $100,000 at minimum, right? And then you've got to have a facility or a warehouse or employees. And my overhead is nothing, essentially. I mean, I do have business supplies and I do need to have a ton of write-offs for the income I make. But when I started, it was nothing. It was just all pure profit once I paid off that $20 kit.
Okay. So the people, I mean, you've probably had some people join your team and it not work out for. Like, what do you think the difference is? Like when you see it doesn't work for people, or what are the hurdles people might have to overcome?
It's a really good question. It's a wide range of how I could answer this question, but I truly think because I think this is what it boils down to. I'm doing a course right now with Bob Proctor, who is really well known in thinking into results, just kind of he was on The Secret. I don't know if you've read that book or seen the movie, just the whole concept of.
I think I might have read the book. Yeah.
Just mindset. It's all about mindset. And that truly, when I start to get to know people, there are people who start this and the words out of their mouth are, I don't know anyone who's going to buy this. I can't sell anything. I'm not going to be any good at this. And they're not, because they've already decided in their mind that they're not going to be good at this and they're not going to make money. And then there are other people who, before they start, have zero experience doing this. And they're like, I want to make this much money by this date because I have this credit card to pay off and I want to do that. Like, they have goals. Those are the people that do really well. So I don't think, there are people, I had a friend, some people are like, oh, I don't have a good social media following. I don't have a lot of people on social media. I have a friend of mine who I went to college with who had one friend on Facebook. She joined my company and I was like, oh God, this is not going to go well. But she was one of those people who had a plan and she knew exactly what she was going to do. She knew she had to grow her social media and start friend requesting people and accepting friend requests. There's car programs with majority of companies. She earned her Lexus car bonus in I think 4 or 5 months. And she did it all via social media because she had a newborn baby. And while she fed the baby, she worked her business. So I just don't think the excuse of there's nobody in my area that will buy from me, or I don't have a lot of friends on Facebook. I don't know if that's really what holds people back. I truly think it's what falls between their two ears. It's all mindset.
Sure. Yeah. I think for every product, if it's a good product, there's someone who's a fit for it, right? It's just getting to that person that's a fit.
Yeah. And that's actually a good point you brought up, because you do have to have belief in the product, right?
Yeah.
I've had some people join and, not every product is for every person. I realize that we have a 30-day money back guarantee for that reason. We're not claiming that everything's going to work for everybody, right? But I've had some brand partners who have joined me, and if one product doesn't work for them, they're like, that's it, I'm out. And I'm like, wait, but all the other products do work for you. But if they lost that belief in the product, you can't really sell it. You operate on a frequency of energy. And if your energy isn't there, people are going to feel it and it's not going to go well for you.
Yeah, I think that could be for everybody, whether it's a company you work for and it's an hourly business, right? Or your own products you're selling or someone else's. You've got to believe in it.
Yep, 100%. I always tell people, try the products before you join the company. A lot of people dive right in and then they try them. And I'm like, just make sure you like them. Make sure you feel good about representing them. Make sure you have results. go slow to go fast. That's always my advice to people starting.
Sure. Okay. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap up in a second, but before we do, is there anything else, any other words of wisdom you might want to give to somebody who's maybe starting out and trying one of these direct sales companies? Or maybe if you could go back and do things different, would you do anything different?
So I told you guys I switched companies, and that was just me not knowing any better. I was the person that joined my friend because it looked fun. So my advice is kind of what we've already talked about. Make sure you understand the business and compensation plan, understand how you're getting paid. Make sure you understand what you have to pay monthly to be active. There are some companies where you have to pay a certain amount every month just to get a paycheck. The company I'm with now, you don't have to do that. And that was why I was really attracted to it. So pay attention to that stuff because all that eats into your profits. If you're doing this as a side hustle, everything extra goes towards your goals of whatever you're looking to make for the month. So it's really important that you have as much money in your pocket as possible. So do that research, ask questions. I think it's really important to talk to people that are in the business already doing it. Ask them if you can chat with some people, put you in contact with them. But really, I think that's it. I think, like I said before, mindset is everything. So go into it with a good attitude. Make sure you've tried the products, loved them, and just have the expectation that it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. That's really all it boils down to. I think it's sold that way a lot, but it's really not. It takes time, but it's worth it. I mean, it doesn't take as much time as climbing a corporate ladder in some cases, but you're not going to have a six-figure income in a year. You might, but I don't want to sell anyone short, but just know that most people get into this to make a couple $100 a month. And I think that's awesome. If you do that, then you're doing pretty well.
Sure. Awesome. If people want to reach out to you to find out more about your company or just in general, where can they contact you?
Good question. It might be best to follow me on Instagram. And I'm sure you'll have this in the show notes, but it's _Maria_Kertez on Instagram. And if you want to check out just kind of what my company looks like, it is Neora, Neora. And you can go to mariakertez.neora.com. And there's a ton of information there, just if you're curious what it looks like and what it's all about.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Maria. Thanks for helping educate the listeners a little more on direct sales, multi-level marketing, however, I guess you're referring to it.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I had a lot of fun, and this is something I'm passionate talking about. So hopefully I helped someone today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening this week. And as a reminder, if you have a listener question, you can propose your listener question for a future episode by going to retirewithryan.com and then filling out the contact form with your listener question. Have a great week, and I look forward to talking with you next Wednesday. Take care.
You should consult a financial advisor familiar with your specific circumstances before you make any financial decisions. Nothing in this broadcast constitutes a solicitation for the sale or purchase of any securities. Any mention of rates of return are historical or hypothetical in nature and are not a guarantee of future returns. Ryan Morrissey, CFP, is an investment advisor representative of Morrissey Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.